Hello everyone, my name is Amaka and you're welcome to Lizama Stitches. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell so that whenever I upload new videos, you'll be notified. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to make your 180 degrees flare, your 360 degrees flare, and your 720 degrees flare. Now 180 degrees flare is half circle, 360 degrees flare is full circle, then 720 degrees flare. So let's get started. Now this is what I'll be using for this tutorial. We are starting with 180 degrees flare, which is half circle. Now the waist circumference I'm working with is 26 inches and the length of the flare is 10 inches. The formula for 180 degrees flare is 3.14. Now the waist circumference is 26 inches. 26 plus 2 inches, 26 plus 2 inches, which is 26 plus 2 inches zipper allowance gives you 28 inches. So the waist circumference is 28 inches. Now 28 divided by 3.14. I said 3.14 is the formula for half circle. That is 180 degrees flare. This formula is 3.14. So 28, we are going to divide 28 by 28, which is the waist circumference. We are going to divide it by 3.14, and that gives you 8.91. Now we are going to approximate this 8.91 to 9 inches. So the radius, the waist radius is 9 inches. The waist radius is 9 inches. Now the length of the flare is 10 inches plus 1.5 inches seam allowance. Now I'm going to use half inch to either join the flare to your band or to the upper part of your top. That is if you're making a peplum top. Now I'm not using this for anything. I only want to show you how to make your flare. I only want to show you how to make different types of flare. Now, so I'm going to be using half inch to join, half inch for the upper part to join the flare either to the band or to the upper part of your top, then 1 inch to hem the lower part. That gives you 1.5 inches. So 10 plus 1.5 inches, that gives you 11.5 inches. For you to know the amount of fabric to use, you're going to add 9 inches plus, now that is 9 inches, which is a radius, plus 11.5 inches, which is a length, gives you 20.5 inches. So now I'm going to measure 20.5 inches. So this is what I'm going to be using for this tutorial. So 20.5 inches. For you to know the amount of fabric to use, you're going to measure. Now you're going to measure 20.5 inches times 2, and that gives you 41 inches. Now this fabric, now this is more than 41 inches from here. So I'm going to fold it into two, just like this. I'll fold it into two, just like this. Now after folding it into two, I'm going to fold it again on bias, just like this. I'll fold it on bias. Now I've folded it on bias, and I'm going to take my measurement from here. Now from here, now this part is on fold while this part is open. So the waist radius is 9 inches. So from this point I'm going to measure 9 inches, just like this. I'm going to mark 9 inches. 9 inches. So after measuring this 9 inches, now this is the radius. I'm going to measure the length of the flare, and I said the length is 11.5 inches. The actual length is 10 inches plus 1.5 inches seam allowance or hemming allowance. So now from here I'm going to measure 11.5 inches. So this is it. Now I'm going to come here, I'm going to mark ½ inch seam allowance, because when I sew on the ½ inch I'm still going to fall back on this line. So I'm going to mark ½ inch seam allowance from here. And I'll cut it. So this is your half circle. Now this is your half circle. You can use this as your skirt. You can use it for your skirt. You can use it as skirt. You can use it as your peplum. You can also use it to make a flare dress, or you can use it to make a flare dress or whatever you want to use it for. So this is your half circle. This is how to make your half circle. So this is how it is. So this is your half circle. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make your full circle, that is 360 degrees flare. So this is this is what I'll be using for this 360 degrees. Now let's do the calculation for the 360. The 360 is the full circle. Now the waist circumference I'm working with is 26 inches. The length of the flare is 10 inches. The formula for full circle is 6.28. 6.28. Now, the waist circumference is 26 inches plus 2 inches zipper allowance. That gives you 28 inches. Now, 28 inches divided by 6.28. Now, to find the waist radius, you're going to divide this 28 inches. That is the waist circumference. I said the waist circumference is 26 inches plus 2 inches zipper allowance. Now this 2 inches zipper allowance, 1 inch is going to be on the other side and 1 inch will be on the other side. Now 26 plus 2 inches gives you 28 inches. So I said the formula for 360 is 6.28. Now to find the radius, the waist radius, I'm going to divide the waist circumference, that is this 28 inches by 6.28. And that gives you 4.45. Now I'm going to approximate it to 4.5 inches. So the waist radius is 4.5 inches. Now, the length of the flare is 10 inches. Plus 1.5 inches seam allowance, which I'm going to use ½ inch to join the flare to the upper part of the top or attach it to the band, and 1 inch to hem the lower part of the flare. And that gives you 1.5 inches seam allowance. Now the length of the length of the flare is 10 inches plus 1.5 inches seam allowance gives you 11.5 inches. So the length of the flare is 11.5 inches. Now, for you to know the amount of fabric to put on fold or to use, you're going to add 11.5 inches, which is the length, plus 4.5 inches, which is the radius. Now 11.5 plus 4.5 inches gives you 16 inches. So for you to know the amount of fabric to use, you're going to times 16 by 2, and that gives you 32 inches. Now this is up to 32 inches. This is more than 32 inches, and from here it's also more than, I have more than 32 inches here. Now I'm going to fold this into 2. Now watch what I'm doing. Now this is how my fabric, let's assume this is a fabric. This is not a fabric, this is interfacing. I just want to use it for this illustration. So let's assume this is your fabric. Now you're going to fold your fabric into 2. Now when you fold it into 2, you're going to fold it again into 4. You fold it again into 4, and this is what you will have. So this is what you will have. Now I'm going to take my measurement from this point. Now this point here, this point that is double, here is double and here is single. Not from this open part and not from here. I'm taking my measurement from here. Take note. Okay, so now the radius, the waist radius is 4.5 inches. So I'm going to take my measurement from here, from this point. I'm going to mark 4.5 inches. Now, for the length, I'm going to take my measurement from here. And I said the length is 11.5 inches. 10 plus 1.5 inches gives you 11.5 inches. So I'm going to measure 11.5 inches from here. So I'm going to connect it. Now after that, I'm going to mark half inch here, half inch seam allowance. After sewing, I'm still going to fall back on this line. So I'm going to cut it. Let me cut here first. Then I'll cut here. So this is my flare. This is my full circle. This is a full circle. You see? This is a full circle. The other one was half, while this is full. Now the next thing we are going to do, now the next one is going to be our 720 degrees flare. It's 2 360 that makes up 1 720. Now the waist circumference I'm working with is 26 inches. 26 inches plus 2 inches zipper allowance gives you 28 inches. Plus 1 inch joining allowance, because I'm going to cut 360 degrees flare into 2. So 1 inch joining allowance gives you 29 inches. 1 inch, which I'm going to use to join the 2 flares together, gives you 29 inches. Now let me take it again. 26 inches, which is the waist circumference, plus 2 inches zipper allowance gives you 28 inches. Plus 1 inch joining allowance gives you 29 inches. So the circumference, the waist circumference is 29 inches. Now 29 inches, because I need two 360, I'm going to divide 29 inches by 2. I'm going to divide the waist circumference by 2. Now, the waist circumference is 29 inches. 29 divided by 2 gives you 14.5 inches. 14.5 inches. Now, 14.5 inches, this 14.5 inches, now to find the radius, to find the waist radius, I'm going to divide this 14.5 inches by 6.28. I said 6.28 is a formula for full circle, and right now I need 2 full circle. I need 2 full circle, so I'm dividing the waist circumference by 2, and I have to divide 29, which is the waist circumference, by 2, and that gave me 14.5 inches. Now I'm going to divide this 14.5 inches by 6.28. Now 14.5 inches divided by 6.28 gives you 2.30. I'm going to approximate it to 2.5 inches. Now the length of the flare is 10 inches plus 1.5 inches seam allowance gives you 11.5 inches. So I'm going to be using this fabric. So this is what I'm going to be using for the 720. Now this is it. This is how it is. I'm going to fold it into 2. I'll fold it into 2. And I'll fold it again into 4. just like I folded the full circle. I'm going to fold it again into 4. Let me turn it this way. Okay, so I folded it into 4. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the waist radius. Now the waist radius is 2.5 inches. That's the waist radius. 2.5 inches. So from this point, I'm going to mark 11.5 inches, which is the length of my flare. 11.5 inches. So I'm going to mark ½ inch seam allowance here. So this is one of the circle. I told you that 360 makes up 720. So this is one of it. You see, it's a full circle. Now you can either use this, fold it back. You can either use this to cut the other one, or you can either use this to cut the other one, or you can also take the same measurement. So I'm going to use this to cut the other one. Okay, so I have, now this is it. This is 360 and this is 360. Now two of these gives you 720 degrees flare. So this is it. You see that it's a full circle and it's also a full circle. So this gives you 720 degrees flare. Now this is what I'm going to do. You see that it's a full circle. It's a full circle. This is a full circle and this is also a full circle. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it into 2. And I'll cut this also. So I have my 720 degrees now. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to join the 2 together. All you need to do is just to take it to your sewing machine and you join it. You see, I told you that I'm using 1 inch. I left 1 inch seam allowance, 1 inch for joining. Now I'm going to use ½ inch here and ½ inch here. That gives you 1 inch to join it. You see? So when I join it, I'm going to have, now this is 720 degrees. This is 720 degrees flare. Now 720 degrees flare is fuller than 360. It's fuller than 360, while 360 is fuller than 180. So this is just it. I'm going to wear this on my mannequin and show you what it looks like. Okay? I have a tutorial on how to make a high-low circle skirt. I'm going to leave the link of that video in the description box below so that you can check it out later. Please, if you learned something from this tutorial, give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. Share this video in your sewing groups. Subscribe to my channel to support me. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so that whenever I upload new videos, you'll be notified. We've come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye!